Hey, it's Lynn Brown. I'm a speaker, trainer, and coach with the John Maxwell team and a partner with Empowered Living. I'm a coach with the Empowered Living group. And today I just want to introduce you to one of my special friends. And the reason that I met Ben is because of a community that I joined 5 years ago. But before this, 5 years ago, I'm telling you, if you had told me that today I would be talking to Ben Starling, I would have said, how would that ever happen? Because I don't have a place. I don't have the money to get to that interview. How can I do that? But when I changed the way that I looked at things, the things that I looked at began to change. Prior to this 5 years ago life that I lived, I was totally just bound by the opinions of other people. I mean, I did not have an original thought. I was so worried about what other people would think. I was trapped. It was almost like living in a mental prison. And I never really knew how. I had that desire in my heart to have more and do more and be more, but I did not know how until I took that step. So I took the step in the direction of my dreams, and it's been amazing ever since. So today, I'm super excited to bring my friend Ben on the podcast today. And I know that when he finishes, you'll also say, wow, I'm so glad I met my new friend, Ben. So I'm going to turn it over to Ben now. Ben, welcome to our Gritty Women podcast, which we have guests from all over the world, and men and women listening to our show. So thank you for joining us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I don't know if you know or not, but John and Margaret Maxwell were neighbors of mine for a number of years. I live on Singer Island down in South Florida. It's an island north of Palm Beach, and John and Margaret lived next door at the condo. Yeah.
Wow.
So,
No, I never knew that.
yeah,
What great neighbors,
so,
both ways.
yeah.
That's awesome.
So through my friendship with Paul Martinelli, I um, I came to attend a number of the orientation or the speaker training. I think was the name of it, and always had a great time. Met lots of great people there. So
Wow.
I'm
Well, that
glad
is awesome.
glad to be able to talk to you and your many friends. And I guess what I'd like to talk about today is something that's relevant, whether with or without a pandemic. This advice is still the same, but during a pandemic, I think it is even more important to focus on. And one of the things that in my work of coaching, counseling, consulting organizations on how to raise more money, major gift support for their charity, it is always something that is a need, and great fundraisers always do this. And I want to share it because it's not only applicable to the charitable world for fundraising, sales, in any type of profession. Everybody should have these three lists. So I want to talk with you today about three lists, and it will help people build their network. And there was a book written a number of years ago by a man by the name of Harvey Mackay. He wrote the book that really exploded on the scene. It was called Swim with the Sharks. Swim with the Sharks Without Being Eaten Alive. And then he wrote another book after that. And I don't remember the name of it exactly, but it's like build your ship before you sink, or build your ship before the water rises. Something to that effect. It was a second book. But it's about building your network. And, we've all heard the phrase before. It's not what you know, it's who you know. And I think that is something that we all want to remember, and because it's relevant. I had shared with someone that over the years, the jobs that I've had, raising billions of dollars for these organizations, two of which that I've worked for have been billion-dollar entities, and so very, very large. I've never had someone ask for my transcript. Now, is it important? Was it important that I graduated from college as a part of that? Absolutely. But as I've always shared, unless you're a doctor or going into a profession that's highly academic, you know, I'd really encourage you to have a plus in your Rolodex. Younger generation might not know what that is, but those of us that might have a gray hair or two understand the term Rolodex. And for those of you who are younger that might not understand that, it is having a network. Who is in your network that you can pick up the phone and you can call, not just send email to that might go into spam, but somebody that you can interact with that knows your name. We all know that you may know a lot of names, but do those names know you? And there's a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So the three list, and I often share this with people who are looking for a job, and right now that's a lot of people. So whether you're trying to make a sale, whatever it is, I want you to think about three lists. The first list are VIPs. Who do you know that's a VIP? Somebody that whenever you put their name down, if you put their name down as a reference, um, you know, a somebody that can vouch for you, that when you have their name on your piece of paper and they're associated with you, that somebody's going to look at that and say, wow, this person gets a second look, because if John Doe endorses him, or John Doe knows him, or John Doe does whatever, makes a phone call on his behalf, that person must be top. So you always want to keep a list of people that are VIPs. Now, your grandmother doesn't go on that list. Your first boss doesn't go on that list. These are people of note, of importance. And it's important to remember that if you, a VIP list, it can become a relative term. So if you are in a small town where I grew up, that VIP list might mean that it is the CEO of the corporate agricultural entity that is there. It might be the president of the bank or the chairman of the board of the bank. If you live in a place like I do, and raise money from a lot of very wealthy people, that VIP list might be the names of some billionaires that I've worked with. So again, it's relative to where you are. So your first list are your VIPs. Your second list are people that can employ you. So if you're looking for a job, these would be people that can give you a job. This is not somebody that can refer you to a job, but someone that has the authority to say, hey, Lynn, I'm going to hire you. You're a great fit. I'm going to hire you. So think of it too, if you're trying to make a sale, that, or if you're trying to land a speaking engagement, who are the people that can hire you? So that's your second list. Your first list was VIP. Your second list are the people that can hire you. Your third list, and this list is just as important as the others, and sometimes I say this is more important. And these are people that know everyone that can connect you. So when we think about people in this world, who are the people that know all the right people? Who are the people that are your cheerleaders that are going to go up to the chairman of the board at the bank and say, Lynn Brown is the best thing since sliced bread. If you don't hire her, you are crazy. Now, the chairman of the bank might think, who is this crazy person telling me what I need to do? But the chairman of the board is going to remember the name Lynn Brown. So think of those people. Those people are often in jobs where they know a lot of people. They often work with important people, or in a public relations, a marketing, a fundraising entity. So make a list of those people. So when you're thinking about that, it's important that these are people that can. There was a term in Washington called "carry your papers." Who's carrying your papers? Meaning, who's taking your information to others and laying it out there on your behalf. And so think about, on this list, who is carrying your papers, who can be your cheerleader, who's going to be the one to introduce you to the people that you need to know.
Wow,
Um,
that is great. Just great wisdom, and it's so interesting too, because the reason we're having this conversation is because of the very things that you just described. You know, I leaned in to growth. I knew I needed more, so I stepped into the John Maxwell team, and that's where I was introduced to Paul Martinelli. And you know, I leaned into mentorship, and I have been every day. I mean, it's like drinking from the fire hose still. I feel like it's day one, you know. And so I did that, and now I'm seeing the fruit of that. I haven't arrived yet, but
yeah,
but I see the fruit
we're
of
all
it.
in process.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're all in process, because he introduced, you know, he offered a training. I went to the training. He introduced me to you there, you know, and now, you know, you have already begun to influence and help and impact my life in that way. And so that's exactly how it happened. So I can't help but think about this, you know, what was it in your life prior to this position that equipped you? Can you think about some things in your life, you know, that kind of not groomed you for this, but prepared you, equipped you for this ability to connect with people at all levels of life?
It's it's somewhat multi-layered, so I'll keep I'll keep it short. I grew up in a small town called Immokalee, Florida, which is a farming community in Southwest Florida. Immokalee is a Indian word. In Seminole, it means my home. And in this community, my parents own a flower and gift shop. So in that environment, it was very much about hospitality. It was remembering people. It was being there for people in the happy times, whether it's a birthday, a wedding, but also the sad times when they lost somebody. And so growing up, seeing parents that operated in and around the hospitality industry, that was something that was always front and center. That put bread on the table. And when something puts bread on the table and shoes on your feet and school clothes on your back, you tend to pay attention to that. And in a small town, it was more evident. You know, we worked in there. We didn't stay at home while mom and dad went to work. The family worked in there. It was a family business. So, you know, that was the foundation for it. By the time I went to college, I had to get a job. Went to Palm Beach Atlantic University in West Palm Beach, and it was right across the waterway from Palm Beach. And those were the biggest houses I've ever seen in my life. Palm Beach was a world away from anything I could have ever experienced or seen in Immokalee. But during my sophomore year of college, at the beginning, I had to get a job. I had to work. And I answered an ad at College Billboard to go and run errands at a fundraising firm. And it was just right down the street. And there was a little old man who was head of this firm. It was his firm, by the name of Frank Wright. And he had a very distinguished career in journalism, and then in public relations that morphed into fundraising. And I don't know if you're a Seinfeld fan, but when Elaine went to work for Mr. Pitt and nothing was ever right, that was the experience that I encountered. And you know, I it took a lot to clean me up, but Mr. Wright was determined that was his job. And I mean, he was 84, 85 when I started there. And by the end of the first semester of my sophomore year, I was working there full time and going to school full time. And he had an incredible gift for remembering names, remembering people. facts about them, and he would take notes on that, mental notes. I never saw him write down people's names or any of those, and he had tremendous recall. And when he would see people, it was as if he had known their lives, and they would constantly be amazed at his ability. So
Wow.
that was an incredible foundation. The college, and then after college, one of the people Mr. Wright had introduced me to was the founder of Northwood University, Dr. Arthur Turner, and he had a lot of health challenges, but his memory wasn't always as sharp as Mr. Wright's at times. But he would write down notes, and one thing Dr. Turner needed no help with, and that was coming up with strategic fundraising methods. His strategy was second to none. And sometimes when you think, Dr. Turner, you're going to drive me crazy, he would come out with the most brilliant strategy you've ever heard, and you just sit back like, where in the world did that come from?
Wow.
Dr. Turner was a letter writer. He was very prolific in his letter writing. He understood gift giving strategically.
Wow.
It was very important to him, and from there I was introduced to Rich and Helen DeVos, the founders of Amway, and I learned fundraising and strategy from the donor perspective from the DeVosses, and so through the mentorship and back before the word mentorship became a household word. It was just more spending time. I didn't know what that word meant. I just knew that I was learning by working for them. And one thing that was very important and realized early on was that when these people could open a lot of doors for you, and so cultivating these folks, working hard in there. When I needed something, was applying for graduate school, whatever it was, these gentlemen, they picked up the phone for me and called to make sure that I got the interview and I got a good word put in, and it became more evident that truly it's not what you know, it's who you know. And those relationships are second to none. And was very blessed to have those people in my life. And I think all of us at one time or another have had people like that. And if we don't have, we should have. And we need to go looking for those people. And that's the reason we keep 3 lists to remind us who the people are in our lives, so that we keep in touch with them, and that we're not calling them up at the 11th hour because we need a favor and we hadn't talked to them in a year.
That's right.
That was one thing all 3 of these gentlemen told me. You got to keep in touch with people when you don't want something, so that whenever you do need something, it's not one of those things. Well, wow, I only hear from him when he needs something or he wants something.
That's right.
That's not the way that it works.
That's right. That's exactly right. And, I think there are probably people listening, they're going, well, where do I start? And, I would just would encourage people to, just like you've said, there's somebody in your, on your list. They're there. They're already there. And I would just encourage people to just start where you are today. I mean, don't wait till next Monday. Just reach out to somebody today and begin that connection process. Because again, 5 years ago, if you had told me that I would be connected with the people that I'm connected with now, I would have said, there's no way. You don't understand. I was not the honor graduate. I was not this. I was not that. And none of that really matters. What matters is that you show up and you show up and you reach your hand out. And that's one thing my daddy, I guess he taught me without even knowing. He was teaching me the most valuable lesson. And it's just to speak to everybody. He taught me to say hello to everyone. And I've had to learn the hard way on some of that. I'll never forget when I went to New Orleans and I was walking down Bourbon Street trying to help all the people there laying in the gutters. And somebody finally said, "You need to stop.
Yeah.
Stop." And I was like, but I need to speak to them. I need to do this. But so there's so much growth for us along the journey. And I've learned so much from just the short time that I've known you, Ben. I look forward to
Well,
just
thank you.
leaning in and every day into the future, and as we journey through this life.
Yeah. And if I could share just one more thing, if we
Yeah,
have another minute.
yeah, for sure.
When I spoke somewhere one time, and there was a lady that came up to me, and she said, "Who do I need to know?" I said, "Well, who would you like to know?" And she said, "Everyone." I said, "Oh," I said, "Okay." I said, "The wino on the street? The all you want to know all the people at the homeless shelter? You want to know all the people at the nursing home? What?" Well, no, no, no. Yeah, I want to. I want to speak publicly, so I need. And I said, "All right." I said, "That's your first lesson right there. You
Yeah,
got to be able to quantify who it is
that's right.
that you want to know, but more importantly, who it is you need to know."
That's right.
And that's one thing that these lists will help you do.
Yeah.
And I don't care if you only have a total of 3 people, one person on each list. You begin to work that list and allow those people to introduce you to other people, because those people will know the type of person the type of people that you need to meet. um,
That's exactly
I
right.
was yeah
I
I
remember.
was
No, go ahead.
I was just going to tell you, I was speaking to a group one time, and I met a really nice guy. He was in sales, and he said, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. And I said, "Well, let's have breakfast, and you tell me, and I'll be happy to help you as best I can." And he said, "I am involved in like 4 networking groups. I go to every chamber event. I'm doing all of these things, but it's not translating to sales." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "How many people at your networking groups or even at your chamber meetings are able to purchase the very expensive high tech home entertainment centers that you sell?" "Well, not really, none of them." I said, "You're hanging out at the wrong places. You got to go and hang out with the people who can actually buy your system."
That's right.
And I said, stop going to 101 different events. And I said, "I'd rather see you go to one event full of people that can buy your system than go into all of those other things." So strategy is important. Again, whether you're trying to find a job, whether you're trying to sell people something, whether you're trying to launch a speaking career, you have to know your audience, and an audience to sell something, or to be employed, it is generally a narrow window. It's not in the masses. So you got to make sure with these 3 lists that you have the people on there, the appropriate people, and you focus on those people. Your strategy is focusing on those people that are able to help you, and that's key. And it breaks my heart sometimes when I see people that are just going 100 miles an hour in the wrong direction with no strategy. They're just wide open,
Yeah.
and it's like you're wide open going nowhere.
Going nowhere
So
fast.
yeah, yeah. So let me see you be a turtle almost, and focus in the right. That you know exactly where you're going. You're just not holding on to a steering wheel, accelerator to the floor, just holding on for dear life. That's not gonna that's not gonna work.
That's right. Going nowhere fast. That's so funny. I can't believe I can't believe you just said that about a turtle, because yesterday I was on a mastermind, and I said, sometimes slow is better, which is hilarious coming out of my mouth, because I was the one that flew going nowhere the first half of my life. And I saw this turtle walking across the sidewalk right when I said that. I took his picture, and I'm doing this photography with Christian Del Rosario. He's just doing a little complimentary thing.
Yeah.
And I posted that picture of that turtle. I cannot believe it. I was like, oh God is teaching me something about a turtle right now. So I'm going to lean into the turtle. But anyway, that is just such gold. Just everything that you've been sharing with us. And one thing, I just saw this week, that how we've always heard you're 5 people away from the person you need to meet.
Right.
And then I saw this article from Fast Company that said now it's like you're 3.9, people away, 3.9%.
Yeah.
You're 3.9 people away from that. And I was like, wow. They said the world's shrinking, and it's kind of cool like that, because I mean, I met you from one person, so it's pretty cool how that works. But wow, such great wisdom. And what a difference, you are making in the world, just because you grew up in a family that served people, and that became one of your values, and you've never forgotten that, and it's only grown as you've grown. And now the lives that you're changing, that so many of those people, you'll never even know their name, but the influence and impact that you're having in your life. Wow. That's
Thank you.
so awesome.
Those foundational lessons, I mean, they'll carry you. And I mean, you think of the biblical principle of, building on a firm foundation, and not building on sinking sand.
Yeah.
I think we've all seen ventures that have looked great. I mean, it's looked great on paper, that they had slick promotional materials. They did a lot of things right, but the infrastructure wasn't there. And so when they started, it may have gone off with a bang, but it couldn't hold. And a lot of times when we invest in beautiful business cards, and have somebody put our resume together and get a great website, and that sort of thing, if that's not getting into the correct hands, it's a wasted effort. And that's where I hate to see people spin their wheels.
Yeah.
It's,
and I think everybody wants to do that first. They want to go on the outside. They want all the outside first before they start on the inside. And I think everything starts in the heart,
Yeah, absolutely.
And so many people think that's so, cheesy sounding, but you know what? It works. And authenticity does work. And
absolutely.
So anyway, you are just such a bright spot in this world. And I've just got to say this too. I know I've probably taken a little bit too much of your time, but I can talk to you forever. But so I noticed during the last 40 days, you were serving your neighbors, and through food preparation. And I'm Southern, and I know you were raised Southern too. So that's a big part in our life. But wow, what a blessing. What a simple thing that you've done that has just multiplied, value and added value to your neighbors.
Well, one thing I learned early on, when you work with extremely wealthy people, and you don't come from wealth yourself, you try and think, where's the common denominator? What is the point of connection? And I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs, and a lot of people of the first generation that made the money, and those that are first generation and actually made the money, earned the money. They have a true appreciation for pretty humble beginnings, and there's generally always something from childhood that is remembered, or that is quite symbolic. And the common denominator with everyone is that you have to eat. And I have always found that sharing a meal together, you can learn a lot about somebody when you share a meal together. And all of my mentors, they were food people, and they understood the importance of family and friends and being around a dinner table and just talking. And so I'd like to say that my cooking is just all about helping people, but truly it's not. I've been about to climb the walls. So having a reason to get out of the house and to go to the grocery store every day, that's been for me. And then just to be in the kitchen and to create something. I was taught to cook with no recipe book, and we didn't measure. So my portion sizes are really big, and my neighbors are absolutely loving it.
You have really
So
started something, yeah. So you're multiplying in the kitchen, but yeah, you had to just create some way to keep yourself, I don't know, from climbing the walls. I know I'm so thankful,
yeah,
you know.
I've got a few elderly friends too that have been going through chemo and a few other things that truly they can't get out. It's too
Yeah,
high risk. So,
yeah,
being able to bring them a hot meal and just chat with them for a few minutes every day,
yeah,
they enjoy that, and it gives me a sense of purpose during this time
yeah,
because um, I I got to stay sane, and
yeah.
being stuck at home is not something that I enjoy. I'm like you. I have to be around people.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's been a challenge, but at the start of it, I was so thankful when when Paul said, we're going to take this time and we're going to lean in and we're going to provide a place, a consistent, calm message. And I've been so thankful because my days have been filled up from John's virtual stuff to, I mean, just all that. And I mean, I'm like I need to get out and I need to go out and tell the squirrels or tell somebody. I mean, I've just
Yeah.
got to it's time for this to transition. And I'm so thankful that we're moving on, and looking into the future now too. So
Yeah.
it's
Hey,
exciting.
one thing that I put together right before all this happened was something called Life Lessons. I don't know if you saw me post a page or two on that, but I'll be happy to email it to you in
Oh, I would
electronic
love to.
form,
Yeah.
and if you want to send it to anybody that's listened or anything like that, you can feel free because it discusses a lot of what I've talked about today.
Well, good. Well,
So
thank
maybe
you
that
so
might be
much.
helpful. Yeah.
Yeah, I look forward. I would love to get that and send it out to everyone. And
Yeah.
and also too, just thank you again for, I know the other day you said that you had a book for the graduates from a project that you
Hmm.
had done.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate that too. Just thinking you're just sowing those seeds, just connecting,
Mhm.
just doing your thing, and you do it so well. And I
Oh,
cannot
well,
thank you
thank you.
enough.
You're most kind.
Well,
You're most
I
kind.
mean that with all my heart, and I thank you so much for sacrificing your time for us today. And wow, I took notes, and I'm going to go back through and take more notes
Yeah.
and make sure I have these three lists going at all times.
Yeah.
But you're
Well,
definitely on my
my
list.
well, well, it's my pleasure. I'm passionate about this, so it's nice to be able to chat and especially chat with people that want to hear. So
Yeah.
that makes me happy.
All right. Well,
Thank you for
thank you.
having me. I'm honored.
Well, we are too. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
and I look forward to having you on again. When we get on through this and on down the road, I'm sure you'll be back again as our special.
Well, it would be my pleasure anytime.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
Okay, take care.
Uh
Bye
huh.
bye.
Bye.